Hey there, this is Kat Ramirez, CEO and founder of Advertise and hashtag Social Buzz. Yay! I am back. So I've been out a couple days because I just did a lot of programming and I created a client portal. So what is a client portal? A client portal is a way to manage your client's properties and create some synergy in communication and streamline things so that we can hold ourselves accountable. And then it's a better use of communicating with your clients and letting them know the tasks that they're responsible for, and as well as the tasks we're responsible for, and then holding everybody accountable. So super excited. This is a new portal, and I had to build it out, and oh my God, it was a pain in the ass, but it's done. And I am here, and I have a couple moments that I figured, okay, I have some learning to teach because as you saw in the notes, I want to talk about branding. And the reason why I want to talk about branding is because I get a lot of people who come to me and they ask me about either creating a website or doing social media or creating a video or whatever it is that they need. Even like doing ads, Facebook ads, or doing some digital ads on Google, or ads on LinkedIn or wherever. Okay, but at the end of the day, when I'm talking to these companies, and this company might be you as well, a lot of times they either don't have a website or they don't have social media platforms created, and they're wanting to do something in order to grow and build their business out. And if the first thing when I talk to these businesses, and I'm like, hey, do you have a brand? Do you have a logo? Do you have a branding guide? Do you have these things? And I'm just looking over here because I have my notes and I need to pull them over here. But there are some elements that you do need as a business owner in order for you to build your brand. Why do you want to build a brand? Because this is a very unique way for you to stand out. This is a great way for you to separate yourself from the competition. And it's also a great way for you to start to establish loyalty for your business, your service, or your product, whatever it is that you're going to brand. So it can be any of the above. But if you don't have, let's say, a website, then you should have a brand. If you don't have social media, you should have a brand. If you don't have any kind of marketing properties and you have a business, you need a brand. You need something in order to, again, grow your business, So I've actually pulled out what the definition of branding means, because as I get into this conversation, I really want you to understand, what does branding mean? And so this is I wrote down a couple of the definitions, and this is the proper definition. And so one of the proper definitions, and by the way, as I go through this little workshop tutorial for you, drop me a line and let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer them as I am talking. I hope I can, because I know every time I try to do this and I try to leave comments and talk at the same time, it's really hard. It's like patting your head and rubbing your belly at the same time. It just doesn't work. So if you have any questions, please drop me a line. Okay. And let me know where you're watching from, and if you're catching this live or you're seeing this on a replay. Okay, what is the definition? The definition of branding is the process involving creating a unique name, an image for a product in the customer's mind, and mainly through advertising campaigns with a consistent theme. That's what branding is. Because at the end of the day, the branding is what it's trying to do is establish your presence in the marketplace, in your marketplace. And it's trying to attract and retain customers who will be loyal to your brand. So that's one definition. Another definition that I found, which was quick, short, and simple, was the marketing practice of creating a name, symbol, or design that identifies and differentiates a product from other products, goods, or services. So that is the down and dirty second definition that I found for branding. Okay, yay. So we've established what branding is, and we, I hope you guys can hear me okay. Yeah, I hope so. If you can't hear me, let me know, because I know you want to hear me. Okay, so we established what branding is, and so just so that you guys know, and I wrote a lot of notes, and I just want to get through as many as I can, because I think a lot of people are confused about branding, why you need to brand your business, and what does it involve. And the one reoccurring comment or feedback I get from clients all the time when we're working with them, because, you know, when we're doing their social media, the first thing we ask is, hey, can you send us your logo or your branding guide? Oh, and most times people, they are like, oh, I don't have a logo, or oh, I don't have a branding guide. And so I'm like, okay, so maybe we should create one for you so that we can separate you from the competition and really establish yourself, because you don't want to invest in marketing and advertising if you don't have these tools in order to separate yourself from the competition. Otherwise, they're going to go to your competition, you know, if you're just marketing plain generic services. Okay. So, so the first thing that you want to think about when you think about branding is you want to identify a logo of some sort that is going to represent you or your brand or your service. And a logo doesn't necessarily have to be like an image of some sort. You know, like this is an example of one, and that's an example. It can be your name. You could be your own brand. So it can be your name. It could be the product that you're representing. So the brand can be so many different things. So you don't think that the brand has to be some creative hot logo like Nike with the swoosh and something like that. Do not think that. That's not what I'm trying to tell you guys to do, or girls. Okay, so that's one. The brand strategy is how, what, when, and where, and whom you plan to communicate to. So that's part of your brand strategy, is identifying your future customer and how are you going to target them and what are you going to do to target them. So that's part of your brand strategy. Now, again, I'm just doing this and talking to you guys in big picture. You really need to, if you don't have a brand strategy, if you don't have a branding guide, if you don't have any brand currently in place, it really is worth your time to sit down with a marketing consultant and develop this and come up with a plan, okay? Where you advertise is also part of your brand strategy. Again, this is going to help you prevent a lot of wasted marketing dollars, because this is a really thorough process that you do in order to develop your brand strategy, okay? And a brand strategy, just so that you know, for the sake of understanding brand strategy, is the brand strategy is really to create your presence in your marketplace. It's not to generate leads, okay? So just keep that in mind. Brand strategy is really to create your brand, your existence, and how are you different, and what is better about you than your competition. So keep that in mind, please, because I've talked about what branding is compared to lead gen, and those are two totally different things. And we're not going to talk about that today. We're just talking about branding. And if you don't have a brand, you should think about creating one. And I'm walking you through the process and some things that you need to think about, but what branding also involves and consists of. Your distribution channels are also part of your brand strategy. And then what you communicate visually and verbally is part of your brand strategy as well. You want it to carry this consistent theme, and so, what is it? They got milk, right? They had the cows and they had this consistent theme, right? So for got milk, and that's from the Milk Dairy Farmers Association or whatever it is. So keep that in mind, okay? And then consistent. You have to be consistent with whatever your brand strategy is, because that's what's going to lead to, and I love this statement, that is exactly what's going to lead to a strong brand equity, which just means that the added value brought to your company's products, goods, or services that allows you to charge more. And who wouldn't want to do that, right? Who wouldn't want to charge more for their product, good, or services? And a great example of that, of course, is Apple. Apple has enormous brand equity, and they can charge whatever they want because people love them, right? And there's many other companies just like that, like Apple. If you think about running or basketball shoes like Nike, and I'm out of the loop on basketball shoes, so I don't even know what the popular ones are. So I couldn't even tell you. Okay, so is anybody watching me right now? I don't have any comments. Really? Nobody's like commenting. I feel like I'm not loved right now. I guess nobody wants to know about brand strategy. But anyways, okay, enough of me. This is about you and what you can learn from this live podcast. Okay. So again, I'm just going to repeat, being consistent with your brand, the number one thing that you are building and that it will build for you is to lead strong brand equity, which again, the added value is that you are able to charge whatever you want to charge for your product, service, or goods. So please keep that in mind. And Consuela, thank you so much. I love it. She said you are loved. Thank you. Somebody's watching. Yay. Thanks for watching. Oh, Ellen is watching too. Thanks, Ellen. Thanks for watching. She says, love coming through. Awesome. Okay, so let me just give a great example of brand equity and branding in its finest. And I love telling this story. I have told this story many times, and you will be able to relate when I tell you the story, because this is what you want for your business. And it's, if you do it properly, this is what you're going to get back. And so if you think about, and I tell this story all the time, so I apologize if you've heard this a million times, but I don't care because it's a great story to tell. So if you think about, a well-branded product, and I'm going to use McDonald's. McDonald's, everybody can relate to. Oh, Jackie's watching. Thanks for watching, Jackie. Happy almost Friday to you too. So if you think about, McDonald's is a great, it's a $1 billion well-branded company. It's extremely popular and it's well-branded. And, if you go down and you're driving and you see those golden arches, you know exactly what you're headed for, right? And so the cool thing with McDonald's, and, McDonald's is just like you and I. They started off as a small mom and pop shop, and then they became this, this big multi-billion-dollar company that's well-branded. Well, the story I like to share with you today is McDonald's today, because McDonald's, you'll never, ever, ever see McDonald's not advertising on some sort of platform. So what do I mean? I mean that you're not going to not see them on a billboard or TV or the radio or the internet or wherever. You're not going to not see them, because they know they have to market to you and I every single day in order to remind us to buy that Big Mac, or they will lose hundreds and thousands of dollars. Okay. So they have a well-branded, well-oiled machine that is a billion-dollar company, but they also know that they have to be consistent with their message and their brand in order to keep their loyal customers coming back to them. So at the end of the day, it's their responsibility to remind you and I to go and buy a Big Mac or make coffee or whatever else that you want, the McNuggets, whatever. So, again, McDonald's is a well-oiled, branded machine. Kids come out, babies come out of the womb asking for nuggets. That's how well branded they are. But yet they still, to this day, you'll never ever see them not market themselves consistently, because they know they have to remind you and I over and over and over to buy a Big Mac, because they don't want their competition stealing their dollars and their loyal fans. Okay. So that's just a great example of branding. So if you think about branding, if you've never branded yourself or your company, so what you want to think about when you think about branding is just like a journey. It's a journey of your business self-discovery. You're trying to find out some nuances about your business where you can really hang your hat on, and you're going to separate yourself. And that's how you're going to be the branded company that you market. And so when you do this branding strategy, sometimes it can be difficult, and sometimes it can be time consuming, and sometimes it can be uncomfortable, because you are going to learn a lot about your business, and you might learn some things that you don't want to know that are going to make you uncomfortable. So maybe there is not a good customer service in place, or maybe you're missing the boat on follow through or things like that. So, or maybe your product really isn't that great, So just keep that in mind, that when you do this self-discovery for your brand, it may be time consuming and it might be a little difficult. That's why I say, reach out to a marketing person to help you, because they're going to help you understand these, and they're going to also have an open mind because they're not embed in your product or your goods or services like you are, and you may want to overlook some of these things. So keep that in mind, because I'm loyal to my brand, and if I had to assess my brand, I need someone who's outside of my company to help me, fix the nuances or some of the things that are disruptive, because I will probably defend my brand and I will say, no, I'm not like that. No, our brand's not like that. So you're probably going to be in the same boat as well when you do a brand strategy. So just keep that in mind. And so at the very least, I did write some questions, because when you do a brand strategy, let's say that you don't have the resources or funds to sit down with a marketing consultant to go through a brand strategy, official blown out one, then do one yourself. Do it yourself brand strategy where you're going to ask yourself some questions. And again, you have to really just drill down, and I would say work with a business leader, a mentor, a coach, another business person, so that they can also enlighten you on some of the things that you may not be aware of, or you may not want to bring light of. Okay. And so some of the things you want to talk about is what's your company's mission? You should have a mission statement. You should identify this, and you should write it out, and you should know what it is. And if you have employees, they should also know what your mission statement is. But that's part of the brand strategy. You also want to know what are some of the benefits and features of the products, goods, or services that you represent. So that's part of your brand strategy as well. And then you want to do your customers or prospects. You want to know what they think about your company. So that is one that could be the uncomfortable part, is just reaching out to some either past clients, current clients, and maybe even prospecting clients, and get a feel for what they think about your company and how you have positioned it so far. And then the other thing is, like, what qualities do you want your future customers to associate your company with? What is it that you want to be identified with when you think about your brand for your products, good, or services? Okay. And then as we wrap this up, because, oh yeah, I'm going to be finishing early. Yay. So once you've defined your brand, how do you get the word out? What do you do to get the word out? So there are some, so once you identify your brand, once you know what the strategy is, your branding strategy is, and you identified your marketplace and what the message is going to be and who you're trying to target with your brand, then you have to think about ways that you're going to get the word out to be able to create this brand equity where you're going to get people or companies or whatever it is that you're marketing to fall in love with you. And so some of those components are creating a logo. And again, a logo can be as simple as your name if you're branding yourself. It doesn't have to be some kind of swoosh like Nike or the M's like McDonald's. So your brand is your identity and what you're trying to convey to your future customers. It's yours, you own it, okay? And then the other thing you want to make sure that is consistent and solid is your branding message. What is the branding message? What are you going to tell people over and over and over so that you just like, and I hate to say this, but it's true, you just pound them to death because you want that message to be like so pounded into them that it's like the old days of jingos. Remember jingos where, you know, you'd hear it and you're like, you can't get it out of your head. That's the same thing. That was a branding message. And you can do them today if you wanted to. I hardly ever hear any, but you can. Also, you want to develop a tagline. So I love having taglines. And then the thing I tell businesses and companies and people is you don't have to have just one. You don't have to have just one tagline. You could have a couple, and let's say that you have two different marketplaces. So that let's say you have a product, good, or service and you sell wholesale and then you sell direct. You can have two different taglines for those, and that's okay. Just make sure that you are consistent when you're talking to your wholesale customers over and over. It's the same, so don't confuse people, okay? And then you want to be able to create templates and designs that match your color, your font, the style, the voice, or I'm not going to go into voice because that's another one, but you want it to have the color, style, fonts, all of that match and all of it be consistent over and over and over. That's part of your branding strategy. And then you want to be true to your brand. So if you're going to say that, you know, you return calls within 24 hours or you return calls within an hour, you want to be true to that. You know, you better be returning the calls. You can't just say it and then not do it and follow through. You know, what is it? Domino's used to say 30 minutes or less. So if they failed on the 30 minutes or less, they would lose loyalty. Okay, so I'm sure we can all relate to that. And then the ultimate one is you have to be consistent. You have to over and over and over be consistent. And think about the McDonald's story that I shared with you because that is a great example of success and how you build your brand equity. Apple is another great story. I could go on. There's a lot of good case studies in regards to brand strategy and how they build their brand equity to what they are today. Amazon is another great story. So you cannot, like, you know, disrupt those. That they have such a huge following. You know, they have the loyalty, and that's what you want. At the end of the day, you want some strong loyalty. So you want to be able to create your voice for your company that reflects who your brand is. You don't ever want a marketing company to take over and create their voice for you. I've seen that happen, and you should be leery and aware of that. Is if you ever work for a marketing company and they start creating a design that's similar, that they want, that they like, that's not creating a brand for you or a strategy for you. That's using their design and their preference of how they want you to look. And that's not branding, and that's not a brand strategy, okay? And I could use an example. I'm not going to mention who the company is, but there is a marketing company that I'm very aware of, and I can tell all of their clients because they use the same template. They use the same style, the same format, the same fonts for every one of their clients. And that's not branding. That's branding for them, because I can see their clients a mile away whenever I see their clients. So if that makes any sense in regards to branding strategy and creating your voice and what you want for your company, because at the end of the day, this is for you and your company, not the marketing company is trying to represent you. They should not put their voice in your messaging or your brand. That's not how it works. So just keep that in mind and be leery of that, because if I've met so many companies that they had a website built and the person that built their website was fighting them because they wanted it one way and the client wanted another way. And it was all because the person building the site, that was their preference. And so at the end of the day, the client had a vision for their brand and their voice, and the person building that should not disrupt that. That should not be part of their voice. So you get what I'm saying. Anyways, that is branding and why you should have a brand strategy and why you should have something in place, especially if you don't have a website, especially if you don't have social media. You should have a brand strategy so that whenever you're doing anything, it's consistent and you start to build brand equity so that eventually you can charge whatever you want, just like Apple or any of the other big brands that are out there. Okay, nobody had any questions. Well, I thank you for watching. If you do have questions after I wrap this up, just let me know, drop me a line. Maybe it's because everybody's at work again and nobody's watching any more videos. Anyways, I'm just thrilled to death that Consuela was able to join me. Thank you. And Ellen and Jackie and Veronica. Veronica, thanks for participating and watching. I appreciate it. She said branding is a great idea and a challenge too. I'm going to show it there. Challenge 2. Jackie says, happy almost Friday. Yes, absolutely. And Alan comment, love coming through. I love that. And Consuela, hi, loved you. Love this. Anyways, okay, if you have any questions, if you need help with branding, certainly reach out to me. I am happy to assist any way that I can. And I hope you have a wonderful day or evening, wherever you're at in your day. And as I always wrap this up and let you guys know, you got this. And again, be safe and stay at home. Okay. Oh, Andre, thanks for watching. I'm just about to wrap up, and I got people popping in now. Quincella gave me ideas for my new product. Awesome. Great. Well, hope you have a great day, a night, and I will talk to you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye.